I had waited months for this day. After years of city chaos, overpriced apartments, and neighbors who thought midnight karaoke was a community service, I finally bought a slice of freedom. 50 acres of pure, untamed land tucked far enough outside the city that I could hear myself think, and my dogs could run without needing leashes. I pulled up in my truck, the gravel crunching under tires, the scent of pine and wet earth filling the cab. For the first time in my life, I felt a deep, unshakable sense of ownership. This was mine. Every tree, every rock, every patch of wild grass.
Mine.
The property had been vacant for years, untouched, waiting for someone like me to turn it into a home. And I was going to do just that, build a small cabin, set up a workshop, maybe even plan an orchard. A quiet life, my way. As I stepped out and stretched, the sun casting long shadows across the rolling land, I didn't notice the black SUV creeping along the edge of the road. A car that didn't belong. A car that would become a symbol of everything I would soon despise. It wasn't until I heard the soft crunch of gravel under tires again that I realized someone had been watching me. A tall woman stepped out, blonde hair pulled back in a tight bun, sunglasses reflecting the sun like dark mirrors, clipboard in hand. Her heels clicked against the gravel like tiny warning bells. "Excuse me," she said, voice sharp enough to cut through the morning air. "Are you the new owner?" I raised an eyebrow, leaning against my truck.
Yeah.
"That's me. Can I help you?" Her smile was polite, but it didn't reach her eyes. "I'm Margaret Wilkins, president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association. Welcome to the neighborhood." I blinked. Neighborhood. She gestured vaguely toward the east, where a cluster of new houses stood on carefully manicured lawns, all identical except for the color of their shutters. "We just wanted to check in and make sure everything is in order. The HOA has standards, of course, and we want all neighboring properties to comply." I cut her off. "Standards. This is my land. I don't belong to your HOA." Her eyes narrowed slightly, though the sunglasses hid most of it. "We understand that. But what happens on adjacent properties affects the community. We just want to avoid surprises." I laughed, a sharp, dry sound. "Surprises. I don't even know you, and you're already treating my land like it's your business. Sorry, but I'm not interested in joining your little club." She flipped through her clipboard, unbothered by my sarcasm. "I'm just here to inform you. We recently had some complaints filed, mostly about the way your property appears from the road. It can impact the overall value of homes in the area."
I ser det her.
Impact value. I didn't buy this land to make it Instagram ready for your HOA. I bought it because it's mine. For a moment, she just looked at me, calculating. Then she smiled, tight-lipped. "Well, we'll see how things go. Enjoy your property." With that, she turned and strode back to her SUV. I watched her drive off, feeling a strange mix of amusement and unease. Something about her didn't sit right. I shrugged and started unloading my gear, telling myself not to worry. I had no idea that her real plan was already in motion. Minutes later, as I began setting up my small campsite near the creek, I noticed movement at the far edge of the property. A car I hadn't seen before parked just outside the boundary. Before I could react, a young man hopped out, grinning like he'd just won the lottery.
Hey.
"Someone told us we could come in here. Party's ready." I froze. "Wait, what party?" He shrugged, like it was obvious. HOA says it's cool. Everything's okay." My blood ran cold. I ran toward my truck, trying to call Margaret's office, but the moment I picked up my phone, a dozen other cars started rolling in from the road. Party vans, SUVs,
Trucks.
music blaring, lights flashing, people spilling out, laughing, carrying coolers and speakers. I shouted at them, waving my arms. "This is private property. You can't be here." Someone waved back. HOA said it's fine. I realized then the horrifying truth. The HOA had tried to trick me the moment I arrived. They wanted to test my boundaries, see if I'd give in, perhaps even assume I'd be intimidated. But they didn't know one thing. I wasn't just some quiet neighbor. I owned the land, and I wasn't about to let a group of entitled HOA members led by the one I already knew was trouble, run roughshod over it. I took a deep breath, surveying the chaos. There was no way I was letting this slide.
Not now.
Not ever. And that was the moment I promised myself. If they thought I'd be a pushover, they were about to get the shock of their lives.